What is going on, Headliner Nation? Welcome back to the Fantasy Headliners. And today's video is going to be an absolute banger because I am going to be breaking down all 32 NFL teams and their running back duos. And I'm going to be going through, can you draft both of them and use both of them? Are you only drafting one of them? Do you need to draft one as a handcuff? Is there a question mark about that backfield? And we are going to be flying right through it. I want to get you a lot of information, and I don't want this video to be half an hour. So we are really going to get in there today. But before we do that, I need to remind everyone that we've got one sick giveaway right now. Oh man, this authentic on-field, full-size autographed Adam Thielen helmet could possibly be yours by heading over to Prize Picks and signing up now. Download the Prize Picks app, go to their website. Either one, it's completely up to you. You do one of those things, create a free account, use code word headliners, and after you do that, make a deposit of $20. If you do those things, free account, code word headliners, make a $20 deposit. Number one, you're going to get a free draft guide. The draft guide is $21.99. You deposit $20, you're going to get it for $20. And you're going to have your name entered for this on-field, authentic, autographed Adam Thielen helmet. This thing is absolutely just sick. So you are not going to want to miss out on it. So make sure that you do all of those steps. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, hey, we've got a lot of information to go through today. I'm going to set a like goal of 1,500 likes for a free draft guide. So if we can hit 1,500 likes, I'm going to pick somebody from the comments to throw out a draft guide to. Leave me a comment down below after we get through this video and let me know which running back tandem you most want to draft. What two guys do you believe could offer the best value this year? And I'm going to pick somebody if we get to 1,500 likes, if you're subscribed and in the comments, to get a draft guide. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. Today, we're going to be going through it so quickly. I feel like we need a little tunes. What do you think? Some tunes to help us get through this? I agree. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Hit that like button for me, and we are going to start in the NFC East with the Dallas Cowboys. Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard are both going to be guys that you can draft for standalone value this year. Zeke going in the third round-ish. Tony Pollard going a round or two behind him right now. But Zeke's going to be the number one, and Tony Pollard is going to get more than enough touches as the number two to still offer a decent amount of value. So make sure that you grab both of these guys in your draft. You could even draft both of them together. If you draft Zeke, you could draft Pollard a couple of rounds later, and there's a really good chance that you could use both of them on any given week. And then if Zeke does go down, you've got yourself a locked-in-stone running back one, I believe. The New York Giants for me, I've got the little medical symbol there because really I'm not interested in drafting Matt Breida unless I own Saquon Barkley and I want to back him up. With the way Saquon Barkley has been banged up over the last couple of years, I would like to have his backup. If you find yourself late in drafts and you already own Saquon and there isn't somebody sitting there that you really feel like you need to have, I would grab his backup, Breida. We've seen Breida really be a big play guy, be able to hit some home runs before, especially when he was in San Francisco. So I'm okay drafting him as the backup, but that's really the only reason. Miles Sanders and the Eagles, I'm okay drafting Miles Sanders. I'm not interested in Kenneth Gainwell, though. If you draft Miles Sanders, you don't really need to grab his handcuff Kenneth Gainwell, because is it really going to be Gainwell? Could it be Boston Scott? Jalen Hurts obviously takes a whole lot of rushing attempts away. So for me personally, I'll draft Miles Sanders, but I'm not interested in the handcuffs because they're really not going to be able to do a whole lot for you. You can grab them if Sanders goes down. Same thing goes for Antonio Gibson, because not only do you have J.D. McKissick, who's going to end up being there, but listen, Ron Rivera is driving me nuts. Ron, I love you. I think you're a good coach, Ron Rivera, but what you want to do with the backfield, it hurts, because Antonio Gibson should be getting a lot more touches. Brian Robinson drafted in the third round this year. J.D. McKissick still there to take a lot of the passing game work as well. For me personally, I'll draft Antonio Gibson if the price is right. If the price is right. It's got to be really, really good, though. If not, I'm probably skipping on Gibson this year. And if you do draft Antonio Gibson, I'm not really interested in grabbing his handcuffs. Same thing goes for David Montgomery. I'm not super interested in David Montgomery this year, which also hurts because I love David Montgomery. I'm a big David Montgomery fan. But the problem is that I'm not interested in drafting a handcuff to a guy that I really don't believe in this year either. Because even if David Montgomery goes down, are you really going to get anything better from Khalil Herbert? Because Khalil Herbert could be a guy that is just, I mean, he's going to run into the same problems as David Montgomery. Lack of weapons on the outside. Bad offensive line. New coaching staff. How are they going to adjust to a new scheme? For me, I'm not interested really in either of these guys this year. For the Detroit Lions, I've got a question mark there because we're obviously investing in DeAndre Swift, but I don't really know if we're going to invest again in Jamal Williams or not. Last year, Jamal Williams, even when DeAndre Swift was healthy, was still out there getting some touches, moving through that process. So for me, Jamal Williams could end up being a guy that, yes, you have to own if you have DeAndre Swift because DeAndre Swift has had some injury concerns. Jamal Williams steps in. Is he a guy that could offer just standalone value? Probably not. Not that I'm really aware of or thinking about right now. So the question mark is up there because if you believe in Swift and you think he's going to stay healthy, there's really no reason to grab Jamal Williams. If you don't believe in Swift and you're grabbing him because he becomes a great value and you believe in him if he's healthy, then you're grabbing Jamal Williams. So really that kind of plays out into what you're thinking and where you get DeAndre Swift and what the rest of your roster looks like. For the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, both of those guys can be owned this year. Absolutely, 100%. We've talked about both of them in multiple videos. We love the passing upside of Aaron Jones. We love the ability for A.J. Dillon to see close to anywhere between 150 to 175, maybe even 200 carries this season. Could get right around 800 to 1,000 rushing yards. Both of these guys, with the lack of receiving weapons that they've had in the past, would be great options this year. Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison, same story, different year. If you draft Dalvin Cook, you grab Alexander Mattison, because if you've got Cook, you grab Mattison. If Cook goes down, Mattison is the guy. Mattison normally when he steps in and there's no Dalvin Cook, he becomes a guy that has legit running back one upside on a weekly basis. So yes, Alexander Mattison is a guy to grab once again this season if you own Dalvin Cook. Now, I'm not grabbing Alexander Mattison probably if I don't have Dalvin Cook. I'm probably just going to skip on him. But I've got the medical symbol there because, again, I want to own Alexander Mattison if I own Dalvin Cook. Down to the NFC South now. Here in the NFC South, for the Atlanta Falcons, Tyler Algier and Damian Williams, I'm okay owning both of these guys. And the reason I don't have Cordero Patterson listed as the starter, because I think you're going to see him move out to wide receiver a little bit more often this year, you know, being used all around the formation. So, hey, drafting Patterson, Algier, Damian Williams, I think it's okay to grab all of those guys, especially early in the draft season, because if you do, you're good. You're golden, because no matter what happens, you're going to be solid the entire time. Christian McCaffrey, I'm drafting Christian McCaffrey this year. If the price is right for Chuba Hubbard, you're grabbing him later. If you own McCaffrey, you got to have Hubbard just in case, again, McCaffrey continues to deal with some of those injury issues. You need to make sure that you have his backup. For Alvin Kamara, the reason I'm drafting Mark Ingram if I own Alvin Kamara is because Alvin Kamara, even though it looks like that suspension is starting to move back, could it potentially come in 2023 instead of 2022? You want to make sure that you are all set to go. Now, Mark Ingram may not end up being the backup, but as the depth chart shows right now, he is the handcuff to Alvin Kamara. You need to watch that situation fluently, though. Leonard Fournette, you know we love Leonard Fournette this year. Absolutely. There's a lot of people hyping up Rachaad White. It's not that I don't like White. It's just that the people hyping up White are the same people year after year I watch want to hype up these rookie running backs and say, oh, they're coming for so-and-so spot. They're the same people that hyped up Keyshawn Vaughn a couple of years ago saying that he was going to take Rojo's spot. And listen, he didn't take Rojo's spot, and they ended up bringing in Leonard Fournette as well. People are like, oh, he'd be a great passing down back. Brady loves Leonard Fournette. Brady already has his guy. Why would he throw it to White? I'm not interested in grabbing White. Yes, if he starts to make a dent later in the season, then maybe take a look at it. But for right now in the drafts, no, I'm not interested in it. Let somebody else deal with that. In the NFC West, James Conner, Darrell Williams, I'm interested in both of these guys. We know James Conner has a history with injuries. If you own James Conner, grab Darrell Williams. If you want to grab Darrell Williams later on in your draft just to have him just in case and you don't own James Conner, I'm fine with that as well. Absolutely okay with drafting both of these guys because there is a chance that if James Conner doesn't really pick up a whole lot in the passing game, that Darrell Williams will be that guy. And especially at the beginning of the season with no DeAndre Hopkins, Darrell Williams could be a little bit of a flex play on a weekly basis if he is seeing those targets. Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. If you're drafting Cam Akers, you've got to own Darrell Henderson. I've broke it down for 2 straight years now. Cam Akers is a good running back. Darrell Henderson has been a more efficient running back at times by quite a bit. So for Darrell Henderson, he is absolutely the handcuff to Cam Akers. Knowing that Cam Akers did not look good at the end of last season in the playoffs, to me, you absolutely need to have Darrell Henderson just in case Cam Akers comes out and he's slow to really get moving. Rashad Penny and Kenneth Walker. There's a lot of people that want to take Kenneth Walker. Again, it's that new sensation. You know, Kenneth Walker is a good running back drafted to a run-heavy team. But for me, it's going to be Rashad Penny to begin the season. I'm not drafting either of these guys separately. If I get Penny, I need Walker. If I get Walker, I need Penny. I want both of these guys on my team. If I don't have both, I don't want either. Not even interested in dealing with it. So for that reason right there, if Penny goes down, you've got Walker, you're ready to roll. If you grab Walker early and Rashad Penny ends up staying healthy, Rashad Penny will be the starter to begin the season. Walker may not see a whole lot of value as the year goes on. If you grab Penny and you don't have Walker and Penny goes down, you kind of shot yourself in the foot. You either want both of them or you don't want either of them. Elijah Mitchell, people still are saying, hey, this is going to be a flat-out committee. Kyle Shanahan's going to, and I understand that. But last year when Elijah Mitchell was healthy, he was the guy, and it wasn't even close. In fact, snap percentages, he was over 80% snap percentages at times last week. So that whole committee thing in San Francisco may or may not hold true. I'm going to have more information regarding that coming soon. I'm not looking to draft the handcuffs there. It could be Jeff Wilson Jr. I mean, he's a guy that did pop up last year, but when he popped up last year, people were excited to grab him and say, oh, hey, he's got, and then he didn't end up doing anything at all. Tyron Davis Prince, excuse me. This definitely is a guy that is the number 3, could end up making a little bit of an impact at some point this year, but nothing that I'm getting too super excited about. Not really going after him either. Let's head over to the AFC, and we're going to start in the AFC East. And I've got a question mark next to both of the first 2 teams because I'm not really drafting their RB1s. I'm interested in their handcuffs more than anything. Now, let's start with the Bills and talk about Devin Singletary. Was an absolute beast to end the year last year, and I love Devin Singletary, but let's be realistic here. James Cook is a guy that has the talent and the skill set to quickly take Devin Singletary's spot. So while I think Singletary is definitely a guy that at the beginning of the year is going to be someone that could help out, as the year goes on, it worries me that he becomes a guy that doesn't do anything for you, and James Cook is the guy. So for me, I would rather draft James Cook. For the Miami Dolphins, I'm skipping on Chase Edmonds, and I'm skipping on Raheem Mostert, who is technically, quote-unquote, the number 2 right now, but it's Sony Michel that I'm keeping an eye on because Sony Michel had the most success last season towards the end of the year. Recency bias right there leads me to believe that, hey, this is a guy that if he's healthy could end up coming out. He'd end up playing very, very well, and it is absolutely insane to think that, hey, Chase Edmonds is a guy that, yes, he was really good last year, but he hasn't had a whole lot of success over his career. Raheem Mostert, he is a guy that, listen, injuries all the time, right? I mean, Chase Edmonds, with him, you think if he was super valuable to the Arizona Cardinals that they would have kept him over James Conner? They didn't. They kept James Conner. So for me, I'm going to go with Sony Michel real late in my draft and going to hope that he gets enough playing time in the preseason and shows enough in training camp that he can start to work his way in, and maybe about 3rd or 4th week, he really becomes the guy and solidifies himself. For the Patriots, Damian Harris, absolutely. Ramondre Stevenson, absolutely. I'm drafting both of these guys. Both of them can have value. Both of them can play. Both of them can get splits on touches. If we can get them both around 150 carries this year, they're going to carry fantasy value. And for Damian Harris, if something happens and he goes down, Ramondre Stevenson, looking from just a statistical efficiency standpoint, was one of the best rookies of all time. If you don't believe me by saying that, go look it up. We've talked about it in videos before. Efficiency-wise, he had one of the most efficient seasons ever for a rookie running back. For the New York Jets, Breece Hall, Michael Carter, I'm staying away from both of them. I don't want anything to do with this backfield. A lot of people are excited about Breece Hall, and don't get me wrong, he's a stud, but Michael Carter was really good last year, and no one seems to realize that. Do I think Breece Hall is just going to walk in and take the entire workload? Absolutely not. Do I think he's going to walk in and get 60%? I absolutely do. But we also know they're probably going to be throwing the ball quite a bit as well. And there might not be a whole lot in the passing game there with all the wide receivers and tight ends that they now have for Zach Wilson. So for me, I'm skipping on both of these guys this year. I'm not going to take a chance with Breece Hall, who you're probably going to have to get in the 4th round. In the AFC North, I got a question mark next to the Ravens right now because I don't know what's going on. J.K. Dobbins was supposedly not going to be ready for the start of the season, and then he called out Ian Rappaport and he said, "Hey, bro, shut your mouth. I'm going to be good to go. Best believe I'll be ready for week 1. Gus Edwards, he's been having some issues as well. He hasn't really been rehabbing, or his rehab hasn't been going the way that people would have hoped. But there's been no word yet if he's going to miss the beginning of the season, and he's still listed as the handcuff on the depth chart. So for me, I'm drafting J.K. Dobbins really right now, and only J.K. Dobbins, but I am playing it close to the chest until I know for sure that he is going to be good to go. For the Cincinnati Bengals, it's Joe Mixon or bust this season, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care about the backups there. It's Joe Mixon. If you're drafting Joe Mixon with what they've done to that offensive line, with the passing game work he got at the end of the year, with his ability to stay on the field multiple downs a game, Joe Mixon's your guy in Cincinnati. We know in Cleveland, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt both have fantasy value together, so 100% we're drafting both of them. For the Steelers, it's Najee Harris or bust as well. We're not drafting the backup to Najee Harris because if you do, listen, it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. You're not going to get any help from the backup. Even if Najee Harris goes down, you're not getting any help from Benny Big Boy Snell. It's not going to happen, so I'm not worried about the backup there. For the AFC South, listen, I'm going with Marlon Mack as the starter. I will draft Marlon Mack late. I'm not really interested in the handcuff, though. I'm not running out to grab a Rex Burkhead or anything like that. If you want to spend a late-round pick on Marlon Mack, who's supposed to be the starter as of right now, and a guy that had back-to-back top 25 running back finishes when he was with the Indianapolis Colts, then 100% you're going to grab him late. We're not interested in anybody that is considered the backup, though. Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines, you can draft both of these guys. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor is going to be the 1.1 or the 1.02. Either way there, you're getting an absolute steal because he's a beast. But Nyheim Hines, listen, they don't really have a solidified number 2 wide receiver in that offense right now. We know it's going to be Michael Pittman. We could see the rookie Alex Pierce. We could end up seeing Paris Campbell be healthy for once, but it's Nyheim Hines that could really end up making an impact this year in that offense if they start putting him in the slot a little bit more, letting him work out of the backfield as a pass catcher more often, even when Taylor's back there. For the Jaguars, I'm going to draft Travis Etienne, but I'm not doing anything with James Robinson right now. I don't know if James Robinson is going to be healthy or not. Another question mark there. So for me right now, I'm only drafting Travis Etienne because James Robinson's still a guy going in like the 6th round or so. For the Tennessee Titans, I'm drafting Derrick Henry, but I am grabbing Hassan Haskins as his backup. Now, he's not technically listed as the backup right now, but he is the closest to Derrick Henry that you're going to get on that team. Now, he's not Derrick Henry. He's not, but he's the closest that you're going to get to a Derrick Henry-like player. He is a guy that if Derrick Henry were to go down and miss time, he would be able to step in and be that guy that's going to be able to run the ball right in between the tackles. That's going to be able to bounce it outside. That's going to be able to make people miss. It's going to be able to break tackles. Hassan Haskins, 16 touchdowns at Michigan last year. He knows how to score. He knows how to drag people along. Hassan Haskins, if you have Derrick Henry, you're going to want to grab him as well. Heading out west, our final division here, Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. We're going to want both of these guys. Absolutely. Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams were both fantasy producers last year. Both of them were guys that 100% you could start on a weekly basis and you would get fantasy production out of. I expect to see the same thing this year, like a 60-40 split going towards Javonte Williams, but Melvin Gordon still being efficient enough that you could start him at the flex on a weekly basis. For the Kansas City Chiefs, I got a question mark there because I really don't want to draft Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I've seen enough at this point to know that I don't really trust him to be the guy. I've seen it from Ronald Jones, though. I've seen Ronald Jones be a guy that averaged over 5 yards per carry in a season, and if he hadn't missed the last game of the year, would have been a 1,000-yard rusher. So for me, I've seen it from Ronald Jones. And I think at this point, Kansas City doesn't believe enough in CEH to really hand the ball over to him as that top back where you're just giving it to him, giving it to him, giving it to him, giving it to him. Ronald Jones is going to see some time this year, and if he outperforms Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's going to start to take more and more touches for him. So for me, I'm not really interested in CEH, but I am interested in Rojo later on. Austin Eckler and Isaiah Spiller, I definitely think these are both guys that you could end up grabbing this year, because if you look at the splits that he had in the past, talking about Austin Eckler with Melvin Gordon, we've seen those guys be fantasy viable together. You could take 50-ish carries away from Austin Eckler. He's still going to have more than enough volume to be a wide receiver one, or excuse me, running back one, basically like a wide receiver one with how much pass catching he gets, but be a running back one. Give those 50 carries to Isaiah Spiller. Take almost all the carries from the other running backs last year and give those to Isaiah Spiller. And Isaiah Spiller could still see 150 some odd carries this year if he averages 4.5 yards per carry or so. And has some of the goal line work and scores 5 touchdowns, he's going to be a guy that's probably going to finish as an RB3, I would think. So I'll grab both of these guys. And if you own Austin Eckler, you might as well grab Isaiah Spiller a little bit later on just to have his handcuff in case something were to go down. Finally, last but not least, the Las Vegas Raiders. Josh Jacobs, I'll draft this year. I mean, the numbers last year, people don't realize how good the numbers were last year. I get it. I understand why you don't like Josh Jacobs. I like Josh Jacobs. I'm going to go back to him this year. I'm not going to go back to Kenyon Drake, though. We didn't really do anything last year. Hopefully, Josh Jacobs is utilized quite a bit. I want to say with Josh McDaniels being there now and what they did while he was in New England, that they do try to get Kenyon Drake a little bit more involved. But quite honestly, I'm not really super interested in worrying about any of that right now. I'll take Josh Jacobs. I'll take him. I'll put him in. If you can get him as like your RB3, you are set. If you get him as your RB2, not bad at all. Just have a little bit of upside to go with that over your last few picks. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely blew through it. Let me turn that music down now that we're getting out of here for the day. Absolutely blew through all of the teams for you to talk about the RB1, the handcuff, whether you want both of them, just one, who you're going to draft, medical reasons, whatever it may be. We went over a ton of information in this episode. So hit the like button for me, because at 1,500 subscribers, I'll give away, or subscribers, we're way past that. 1,500 likes, I'll give away a draft guide. If you're new here to the Fantasy Headliners, you got to hit that subscribe button. Stick around, become a member of Headliner Nation. We're almost, by the time this video drops, we might be at 145,000 subscribers. If not, by the time this video drops and then we are in it for maybe an hour or so, we should end up heading right over that. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. And again, leave me a comment down below. You can't win a draft guide if you don't leave a comment. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Which one of these running back tandems would you be most excited to own this year? Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt, A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, Zeke, Tony Pollard. Which one of those running back tandems would you most want to have on your team together? But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get out of here. Don't forget to go get signed up over on Prize Picks so you can get entered to win the Adam Thielen helmet. Everybody stay safe and stay healthy, and I will catch you on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.
Analytics off the chain, all the channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. Y'all stuck on third down. Your content's plain Jane. Headliners on top now. We gonna move and change. Podcast off the rip. Draft guide, so legit. Fantasy world, our game tight. You know we about that Chubb life. Stuck in a rut and you need some motivation. Head to the channel for this Headliner Nation. I'm a headliner.